So talk about dream makers, dream weavers, and dream jobs. Sarah, I want to go over to you because you make things happen. And she has been involved in so many iconic, the Jurassic World, which I had the privilege of spending 4 years of my life on when I was back at Universal, Pitch Perfect. I mean, just such a plethora of titles. And one of the things that was so interesting when we were talking, and I knew that from the beginning, from like '94, is that there was such a serious intent on the part of Universal and the creative executives and Sarah to get it right, to get the science right. So I would love for you to talk about that because it's not just Jurassic, it's across Twister and a lot of other things, like how you're thinking about the make believe and and how you've gotten it right with the science.
Well, I think so many people are involved in these projects. And, for me, when I approach it, I know one of the things that I just feel lucky about generally is that my education was at an all-girls school where every example of leader, scientist, mathematician, artist was a woman. So I never saw a barrier for entry in anything that I was considering. And so when I'm approaching a project, I want to deliver the same. And I think our leadership at the studio has just always exemplified that this is important. And so from the top down, all of us working at Universal, it's always a part of what we're thinking about. So when we're reading a script, when we are developing a script with a writer, when we are going into production and casting, we're constantly thinking about how do we make these projects representative of our world. And that is both in the diversity of the people that we're seeing on camera. We're now also very much thinking about the diversity behind the camera. And when we're talking, it's also the diversity of the way that people are thinking and the way that people are doing their jobs. And so it is, I think, we all take the responsibility very seriously, and we have to enlist those people that are going to help us. So in any movie, whether it's Jurassic, Twisters, coming out this summer, we are engaging people who know the field and who we can ask the questions, where we can put our writers and our filmmakers in touch with them so that they can point back to it and say, this is real. This is why we came up with this idea. This is why the story is going in this direction. And of course, there's things, some liberty is taken. But we also make sure that the characters are going to be representative of our world. And so you look at a project like Fast and the Furious, where you have engineers and scientists who are women. And you look at a movie like, Megan, where it's AI scientists, women. Twisters, and as you said, Jurassic, and how awesome that Ellie Sattler got to come back 30 years later and be that paleontologist that everybody has looked up to for all of these years. So it's a lot of, I think we all say this is a lot of fun, but we also know that we can really affect change by showing the world as the quote that was put up there, that as we want it to be. And so it's very important to us to keep that going.